Cecil Global and African Diaspora News Channel presents the Ghana Luxury Property Tour. It will be a 8-day tour coming to you starting October 1 through October 8, 2023. Now, you enjoy a 5-star stay at a hotel, the finest properties in Ghana. You connect with industry professionals. You will also visit cultural landmarks, have a meet and greet with the team, and so much more. Make sure that you go to the description box below and hit that link to sign up.
On very many occasions, I have interviewed people who said when they came to Ghana, they felt seen, they felt heard, and they did not feel black. In fact, if anything, they felt loved, they felt at ease, and they felt so much peace in Ghana. And they were considering, or they had just made the decision to live here and never go back to either America or Europe, despite the challenges that Ghana poses. Why is that? Why is Ghana the ideal destination for many diasporans who are living abroad and come to visit and decide to make this their home? In this video, I'll be telling you some of the things that make Ghana a standout country and a unique place to move, travel, or just start your life. Hello there, my name is Diaspora. I am a content creator and a business journalist, and I make content on travel, life, and love. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Diaspora, and here I interview people who've moved back to Africa from whichever part of the world, and they just share their journey, their highs, the lows, and the essence is to share real-time experiences of relocating and build a community of diaspora where we can know each other and support each other. So let's get to today's video. I have interviewed so many people who've either traveled to Ghana or moved to Ghana, and the answer is always consistent. Ghana made me feel good about myself. And when I examined what are some of these things that make people feel good about themselves when they come here, I broke it down into like several things that make people feel like Ghana is home. I think number one, particularly if you're from the diaspora and you're a person of color, particularly black, there's so much connection to Ghana because of the transatlantic slave trade. Many of the slaves who were sold off to America and Europe left the continent through Ghana, which was initially known as the Gold Coast. Slaves were kidnapped or sold and bundled up in ships from the Cape Coast Castle and sailed off at the Atlantic Ocean to go and serve their masters. There is something about coming back to a place where your ancestors were taken forcefully and shipped to a place that they did not necessarily want to go. And so when people get here, particularly people of color, it's a full circle moment. It's more like the spirit and the soul is back home. So many people who've been here, particularly in 2019 when the government launched the year of return, many people who came said they felt like home for the first time. It felt like you were at a place where you belong. And if you believe in like spirits and the universe and ancestors, then you know that if your people left through here, then you are back to where your ancestors began their journey from. And it's such a healing moment, and it's just a full circle moment where many people resonate with. It's very heavy and emotional, but it's also very liberating. The other thing is the people are really, really, really nice. So Ghanaians are like a very standout bunch in Africa. They're very kind, they're very caring, they're very genuine, and they're very gentle. They are a bunch of people that see people. They see the human being. You know, we greet each other here. We care about each other. There's a sense of community. When you live here, your neighbor will cook and come and bring you food. Your neighbor will ask you if you're okay. Your neighbor, when it's raining, they'll take your clothes out of the line for you. Your neighbor, when you're going somewhere, they're definitely going to ask you where you're going. Now, sometimes you might be like, why are these people in my business? Get off my business. It's not that. It's just people care about each other. If you're out and something happens to you, then they actually know where to start in terms of helping you or looking for you. You know, there was a day somebody asked me, where are you going? And I told them where I was going. And in my mind, I was like, this is so invasive and intrusive of my privacy. But somebody came to look for me. And when the person came looking for me, because my neighbor had known where I was going, my neighbor told them, oh, they've gone to such and such a place, and it shouldn't be long before they came back. And the person waited for me, and it was like a really important meeting. So there's a sense of community in living here, which is not necessarily available in other places because everybody's just in their apartment, minding their own business and living their life. You could die in your apartment and nobody would know, right? So there's that sense of community that really appeals to people here. 3, the food. Let me tell you, the depth of the cuisines, the local cuisines, will always mesmerize your taste buds. From the preparation process, the spices, the variety, just soup. You know, when I was in Kenya, somebody once made a joke and said, Kenyans do not know how to cook. The only spice they use is salt, and our soups don't taste good. And you can think it's offensive until you come here. You find pepper soup, light soup, groundnut soup, peanut soup. There's so many, and it's just you'll be mesmerized. Like your taste buds will be mesmerized. There's so much to try. There's wache, there's fufu, there's banku, and there's jollof. And if you eat jollof in Accra, it's different from when you eat jollof from another place. So just the cuisines and how they mix the food, fish and meat, chicken and meat, and fish and snail. From the outside, you're like, what is this? But when you try it, it's really good, and it's such an experience. The food in itself tells a story. It's an introduction to who the people are, how they live, what they believe in, what they like. But this is a warning. The pepper is hot. It's not pepper to taste. It's pepper to kill you, okay? It's so hot. Like when I came and began eating here, I would end up at the hospital most of the time because my skin would be so itchy from the hotness of the pepper. But now, the good news is I am used to it. So safe to say that the body gets used to it. Then we have the culture. Now, I would not say that I'm an expert in discussing or talking about Ghanaian culture, but it's also a very, very beautiful culture. From the way they live, and I had mentioned earlier on, there's just a way people live with their neighbors. For example, greeting people is just mandatory. It's basic courtesy. There are things that you don't do here. For example, you don't use your left hand, and you can look at it as a bad thing, but there's something so beautiful about immersing yourself in people's culture and respecting it. You know, when it comes to weddings, also it's so beautiful. You know, when you're going to pay bride price, there's a list that they give you and the things that the family would love as gifts in exchange for their child. And this is just the bonding of two families, you know. And the way they dress, the different parts of the country, they have different dresses for like wedding days. Same to funerals. You know, here funerals, you'll find some are wearing black and white, some wear black, some wear red and black. And it's just very colorful and very bright. And funerals here mostly are more like a celebration of life. They have children naming ceremonies, and it's also like a beautiful celebration of just the family, friends and relative and the child. And there are just so many things. The more you live here, the more you immerse yourself in the culture and more you learn about how the people live, how they do their things. And it's just like a really, really good thing, you know. When I started living here, I didn't understand the concept of people eating from the same plate. If anything, I was like, it is soup. I do not want to eat soup with somebody from the same plate. And then you get to understand that, oh my goodness, there is a story, there's a lesson, there's a logic behind this. It's sort of bonding the family, bringing people together, ensuring there's peace, there's unity, there's love. So there's that part of the culture that is just so amazing. The other thing that makes people feel like they love Ghana and they're seen here is the fact that life here is a little bit slowed down. How do I mean this? I think if you've lived in other countries that are very fast-paced, you know that we are always in a rat race. We are chasing what we can never get. It's work, work, work. Then you go home, you're too tired to even spend your money. You pay your bills, then it's work. It doesn't work like that here. Here, people value certain things. People value family, people value rest, people value church, people value going to the beach, people value things that are not necessarily valued at other places in the world. So when you come here, and on Sunday all businesses are closed, it can be an inconvenience, but the people who run the business are in church, and when they're done in church, they're going to hang out with their families. The people here are so happy because they are very content with the much they have is the little that they don't have, and the little that they have is the much that they don't have. And so that sense of contentment and a sense of grounding keeps them very happy, very focused, and very content. When you come here, you cannot rush life here because there's no way you can rush life here. Sometimes you'll call an Uber and the guy will tell you, I'm closed. I'm closed. Actually, I'm going home. If you're going my direction, I would have gone with you. But because you're not going my direction, I can't take you. I'm going home. And initially, I'd be like, excuse me, aren't you like at work? And then you realize that these are the things that matter. Yes, you're going to make the money, but you begin missing dinners with your children, and your children grow up, and you don't tuck them in bed, and you don't help them do their homework. And these are moments that you will never, ever get back. On Saturday and Sunday, if you go to the mob, there's so many people like families, and they're out there just having a good time, taking pictures, enjoying, and that just teaches you something so important. Like, family is very important. People here have slowed life down, and they focus on things that actually matter and not necessarily chasing material things. And that does not mean that Ghanaians do not hustle and they're not aggressive. It means that there's a very fine line between work and family. If anything, I think they've cracked the work-life balance really well, which is good for them. I think the last thing is when you move here, particularly when you're a person of color, you blend in. You blend in because everybody looks like you. There was a day I was interviewing a lady, and she, if she wouldn't have told me she's American, I wouldn't have known, because she looked like me, same texture, same color. And I think people just want to be at a place where they're not constantly reminded that they're black, or they're not black enough, or they're not white enough, or they're not light enough, or they're not good enough, or being told go back to where you came from, or being called racial slurs. And being in Ghana offers them that, because you almost look like everybody else. And even if you look different, nobody is going to make a big deal out of the fact that you do not necessarily look like them, which helps people a lot, because it just means that you can go about your life without being very conscious of how you look, or what you're doing, or am I at the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, with the influx of police brutality, many people are sort of on the edge, and then you move to a place where there's nothing like wrong place, wrong time. There's nothing like this car is too posh for a black person to drive, or this neighborhood is too posh for a black person to live. You must be in the wrong place. Nobody is worrying that they're going to be shot at the back or stopped and harassed. And I think that makes a big difference, because when you have stood out your whole life and in the wrong way, and then you move to a place where all the things that made you sort of anxious and panic and feel inadequate are no longer valid, then you just feel like, oh my goodness, I'm at home. I feel at home. I feel at ease. And I think these are just some of the factors that when people visit or live here, they get to experience and enjoy, and it just makes them love the place. A bonus point is we have the beach in the city at the backyard, and it's a nice beach. It's sandy. Some beaches are not very clean, but some parts of the country have very clean beaches. When you just drive 1 hour away from the city center, then you go into the tropical life and the jungle, and it's just so amazing. I mean, there's so many regions in Ghana that you could visit and just have a good time. And this is some of the things that make people just say they want to move to Ghana and they love living here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this period. My name is Ndero Ganga, as I had mentioned. I'm a business journalist. If you stayed this far, please go check out my channel. I tell stories of diasporas who've relocated into the continent, sharing their real